Welcome to the Stack Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Stack Supplement Podcast, where we run down some of the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our website from the last 7 days. And we're going to kick this off with a bit of news from Stacked itself. And this is, even though the expo is now exactly 3 weeks away, we're getting close, it's getting exciting, it's getting fun. I always get nervous, but it should be a great event. As mentioned in previous episodes, we have a lot lined up. Brands are really bringing it, announcing, launching special edition products, exciting innovations, and we'll be teasing some of those in the build up to the big day. But the news we have from our side of things is that the Clash of the Cans is returning exactly 1 week after, or not actually 1 week after, the week after, one day after the expo ends. Clash of the Cans is making a comeback. We did the first one last year, and for those not familiar with it, it is essentially our energy drink version of Protein Wars. We saw the passion behind people, very similar to protein powders. That's why we did the Protein Wars, which is a voting style contest where everyone gets to have their say and vote for their favorite protein powder to see who comes out on top. We saw a lot of passion behind people in the energy drinks, regardless of which one they liked, how they liked it, how they found it, how they come across it. It was very much reminiscent of protein powder, and why we created Protein Wars. So we created Clash of the Cans, which is the same kind of thing. Everyone gets to vote on their favorite energy drink. They get to submit their own favorite if it's not on the list, and we battle it out. We see who comes out on top. Last year we had Seiko C4 win out, which was definitely, I thought Bang might have taken it. To be honest, the two at the end surprised me. I mean, you always have your predictions, but C4 winning is not too surprising, as we've mentioned. The Stacked is a very sports nutrition based following. We share pretty much sports nutrition supplements, so it's not too surprising that someone from that side of things came out on top and walked away with the title. And again, we saw it was extremely popular last year, so we felt we got to keep it back. We got to keep doing it annually. So this year it is coming back. It'll be kicking off on August 17th, if I remember correctly. So exactly 1 week after the start of the Stack Pro Expo, and which is exactly 4 weeks from now. It will be doing a few tweaks and changes, allowing voting to be a little more controlled, a little less promoted. I think a lot of people mentioned they didn't quite like how people could give away things, and then some brands would do it, some brands wouldn't. So this year it's just a flat out vote. You cannot or you won't be allowed to promote voting in terms of for prizes and stuff like that. We'll have more details. My problem with doing something like this was always to control it. It's going to be very difficult to control, but we'll have a system in place where people see it, and we'll reach out and just to make it purely about votes and to see how I guess the fans shine through and see their passion and loyalty. So it'll be a fun contest. We also have put together a crazy trophy for this year. I've actually done two of them, one for myself because it's that cool, which is not something we do for any other trophies, but the original trophy was actually 3D printed. It was aluminum, which was still solid, still hefty, but it was 3D printed, and it looked nice. However, the option that they said to us, they said, you could pay a few thousand and get a full bronze cast created. And as much as I was like, that's fucking cool, I didn't want to do it right out of the gate. But with the success, and then I was just like, fuck it, let's do it. So we fronted up. We put the order in, I think, much earlier in the year, and it's pretty much in the process. We'll have pictures up in time for the event, but it's a full bronze cast, hefty beast of a trophy, and it will look damn cool when it's finished. So the winner will be taking that. And hopefully putting it on their trophy shelf, and it'll be a beauty to have up there. But that'll kick off on August 17th. The first round will be like we did last year, which was a new thing we introduced, where pretty much everyone gets to vote on every energy drink. Every product will be on the list. If there's not on there, you'll be able to have the option to add it in and select it, and then all the votes will go for those. And then after that, we'll pick the top 16. So you won't know the vote counts, but we'll tell you the top 16 that finished. And then from there, we will have 4 rounds of 4. So there'll be 4 up against each other, and the most popular one from each of those 4 groups will then go forward to round 2, round 3 semifinals, and then 2-on-2, and then the winner of each of those groups of 2 will make it through to the grand final for a showdown and find out whether or not C4 will be able to repeat its victory, retain its title, or will have a new one, whether Rays will storm back after it had a surprise grand final presence last year. I definitely didn't see that one coming, so it'll be fun to see how it turns out. I love doing these things and seeing just what people want and what people like. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Next on the list, well, as we get into it, this is where the stories start. So the first one we're going to kick off with comes from Europe, and this is actually a Russian brand. Now, this is not a brand that I had come across. I have to give a shout out to my friend Lukasz from Prometheus again. He alerted me on this brand. He said, check them out. So it's a functional food brand from Russia. And I just love the branding. I love the style. I love the marketing of it. So we followed them along. And then pretty much this past week, they launched 2 new products. And they are not short on creativity, I'll tell you that. So just to give you a background on the products, they basically do functional on-the-go type protein snacks. Very similar to Bombar in the sense that they're no sugar. I think if they're not no sugar, they're light sugar. I haven't been able to find too much on each of the items, but this past week they introduced 2 entirely new products. One of them is a spin-off of their flagship protein cookie, and it's called Extra Protein Cookie. Now this thing is, well initially, when I see things that say extra or added or plus or whatever, you usually think extra protein. That's generally what it is. This, however, is not the case. FitKit is the name of the brand. They introduced the Extra Protein Cookie, which is the same kind of macros as the regular cookie. However, inside these cookies, there are 2 layers. I think it's like a doughy and a crumbly thing. I haven't tried it myself, but from pictures, there's about 2 layers in there. In the extra protein version, there's a pocket that runs in the center that's filled with gooey flavor. So they've created essentially a triple texture type cookie on the inside, which is then coated in chocolate. So it's still the same macros as the regular version, and it's available. The interesting thing about this one is that it launched in Russia when they announced it, but the more interesting thing is that the amount of flavors they drop this thing in is impressive. I mean, even brands in the US that put out new bars, they usually do 2-3 flavors. They go for the traditionals. That's not the case with these guys. They I'm trying to think. I think it was 8 flavors. I could be wrong here. Sorry, I was a bit of a runny nose. No. The Extra Protein Cookie. I'm thinking about the other one. The Extra Protein Cookie launched in 2 flavors. Both chocolate flavors. There's triple chocolate and then chocolate fondant, and they both have a gooey chocolate center, very chocolate heavy experience. You can read about more than on the site, but as mentioned, there are 2 products, and it is this other product that has hit the market in not 1, but not 2, but a whole bunch of flavors. I actually don't have the list in front of me right now. Too bad on that. I'm pretty sure it was 8. I could be wrong, but they have 10 flavors. 10 flavors. As mentioned, it's a shitload more than you'd get with your traditional protein bar that comes in like cookie dough, cookies and cream and stuff like that. So they launched in 10 flavors with double chocolate, coconut cream, pistachio. There's a few others out there. They're all very unique. But as for what the product actually is, which I should have mentioned first, but it's a protein macaron. So if you're not familiar with these things, they're basically little cakes, essentially, that come with 2 kind of doughy. Traditionally, this is what they are. They have 2 like little doughy cookies either side, and in the middle is like a gooey or like a soft cream. It's very similar to traditional like oatmeal cookie pies, but a more bite-sized thing. So they're intended to be much smaller, or at least the traditional macarons are. And so FitKit basically took that classic baked treat, that classic delicacy, and turned into a protein treat. Put a bit of a protein twist on it, and the macros on it are far from bad. It's 21 grams of protein per box, and each box comes with 3, so you get 7 grams of protein per macaron. And the other macros are 20 grams of protein combined, so that's 6.6 each one, 5.8 grams of fat, so just shy of 2 grams per macaron, and then 240 calories, so about 80 calories per piece. So yeah, it's a damn interesting product. I was like I said, when I continue to say, when it comes to functional foods, Europe is just, I mean, they've gone beyond protein bars. Like with this whole brand doesn't these guys do protein snacks, and none of them are your traditional bars. They've got cookies, cakes, and macarons. It's cool to see how creative these brands get, and this brand's popular. Check them out on Instagram. They're far from if they're far from your traditional sports nutrition brand. They're very well received in Russia. But yeah, so 2 new products this past week. You can check them out on the site. I do believe they're available now in Russia, the macarons and the extra protein cookie. And the interesting thing about the macarons is that despite how unique this thing is, like a box of 3 tasty little macaron treats, the price on them is pretty damn good. A whole box is just equivalent to about $2, which is insane for something that unique. You get protein bars that are more expensive than that. And at $2 each, you get a case of 12. Compare it to a typical bar, it's $24. It's and there's probably a discount you can get from places that sell you more than one. So they definitely do things differently. It's a fun brand. It'll be a fun brand to follow, and I'll be excited to see where they go from here. But keeping within the functional realm of the sports nutrition industry, another new product that hit Europe this past week is the M&M's protein bar. Now, this was posted about, I believe, back in April. An image surfaced, and we kind of just had the image of the wrapper and the product. We didn't actually know what was in it. We didn't know what we were in for. There were several things that we thought, but all we knew was that an authentic M&M's protein bar was coming to Europe from Mars. Now, Mars is, of course, the giant candy company behind the classic Mars bar, Snickers bar, and M&M's. And so, for those who haven't followed Stack that long, Mars does its own protein snacks in Europe and the UK and Europe, and those things are distributed. I've seen them in Canada, I've seen them in the Middle East, I've seen them in Australia. They're all over the globe, but they're not in the US, which is not too surprising because I've heard that it's very difficult to get functional foods and snacks into the US. Exporting is really easy. Importing is not so much. So yeah, they've got several of these very if you see them, it's pretty much the identical branding, marketing, and wrapper to the bar it's based on. So for example, the Mars bar pretty much looks like a Mars bar with like a protein tag underneath, and same with the Snickers. They do protein powders as well. There's the Twix protein bar. They've done the Bounty protein bar, which I think was a flapjack. They even did Milky Way back in the day. I don't think that one's around anymore. And they've done spin-offs of the Snickers as well, or is it spin-offs for the Mars? I think it might be Snickers. But yeah, anyway, so the new one that's become available in Europe this past week is the M&M's protein bar. And we finally got confirmation on what it actually is, because my question is like, it's an M&M's protein bar. How are they going to make it feel like M&M's as opposed to just a chocolate protein bar? So what it actually is, it's a your traditional bar. However, it's filled with M&M's minis. We've seen several pictures of it, and that is exactly what it is. It's got colourful little M&M's minis in the bar itself. And you might be wondering, how do they do that and keep the macros strong? So the macros on this one are very different. Well, not very, but slightly different from the other Mars protein bars on the market, as mentioned, the Mars bar and the Snickers protein bar. So the M&M's protein bar has 15 grams of protein, whereas the Mars and Snickers bars, I'm pretty sure they have 22 grams. So it's about 33% less, third less, 30% less for the M&M's protein bar. But the rest of the macros, 21 to 23 grams of carbohydrates, 12 to 15 grams of sugar, 5 to 8 grams of fat, for a total of 192 to 209 calories. Now the variance comes because there are 2 flavors. Mars has launched this thing in both the classic M&M's flavors. You've got milk chocolate and peanut, both of which I assume have those classic M&M's minis in the middle. I'm curious whether or not there's even peanut M&M's minis, but both are filled with them and are now available in Europe. Now we've got those ones done. We're going to head to the US market, which was extremely exciting this past week. And tell you what, we'll build up. We'll do a nice gradual excitement build. We'll start with one of the interesting stories, but not as good as the other ones. And this comes from Caged Muscle. So Caged Muscle teased the product, I believe it was on Wednesday or Thursday. Either way, they teased the product. They made it look like they were coming out with a glutamine formula. GLU was the letters that they showed. They didn't show anything else. And, when you see the letters GLU in the supplement industry, it's, especially when it's powder form, it's glutamine 9 times out of 10. And so all we knew was that they were coming out with a glutamine formula. Now, the interesting part was that they said it was going to be an industry first type thing. And I was always curious about these products purely because, it's a spin on a classic or a tried and true product. Like glutamine's been around for ages. I don't use it. Same with creatine monohydrate. I use that. But tried and true products, people put spins on these things all the time. Protein powder is another one. You can only do protein powder so much, but brands put a little twist on it. When you got like the exciting authentic collabs from Ghost, you've got the Velocitol enhanced formulas that you see from brands. I've seen the spins before. So a day later, Caged Muscle revealed what it actually was, and it turned out to be a micro encapsulated glutamine formula. So it's a powder formula infused with this micro encapsulation technology that apparently makes it more bioavailable, resulting in a 20 times faster absorption rate. Now, I had this discussion with a couple people, and this was very much, I don't take glutamine, so this isn't my kind of thing. But my catch with these things is that it's going to come down to price, and that's the one thing we don't know about this. This was much the same as if you can throw your mind back to when Caged Muscle launched Clear, and we mentioned this then too. It was a unique. I can't remember the spin that they had. I think it mixed clear. There was more to it than that, but it was a twist on classic creatine monohydrate. But I said to my point was that if you're gonna put a twist on something tried and true, you have to make it cost effective. You have to justify it, right? It's the same with the protein powders. If you make a protein powder, let's say there's a protein powder for $50, 5 pounds. Let's just say that's the standard, and then someone comes out with an enhanced version that has Velocitol to maximize protein synthesis, and I don't know, added Glaxon just to give you extra muscle. But I don't know. It has these extra things to help boost it, right? Now, if you tell me that it's got all these things proven, whatever, and you say $50, but this extra version is going to cost you $55, I would probably jump on that. $55, $5 extra, I would do that. I buy a lot of my supplement. I buy, if not 90% of my shit. So I would do that. I would probably spend that extra money just to give it a go. If I don't see much, I'd probably go back down to the regular version. Now, if you told me it was $70, I would probably say hell no, because you could essentially buy 2 tubs of that for the same price as you would be buying 3 tubs of the regular one. And for me, that's just how I am. There are probably people out there. For me, that's the thing with these classic spins. You have to make it just enough more for me to be interested. And that's what I don't know about this glutamine. While they're saying that it's got this 20 times faster absorption rate, we don't actually know the price, so I can't really judge. Like, let's just say it's the same price as, because Cage sells its own glutamine powder. So let's just say it's, I don't know, I don't actually remember off the top of my head the price of the glutamine, but let's just say it's 25% more for this faster version. Then I might actually give it a go if I were buying glutamine. But if it's 50 to 100% more, then probably not. So you can check it out on the site. They mention about they got a full detailed page on their own website, breaking down what it's about, what it does, and the thought and process behind it. But again, it's going to come down to price for me. So I mean, I can't really say much because you can't really knock it until you know the full details, which we don't have just yet. But I believe it's launching Tuesday. Okay, so when this goes live on Monday, yeah, it'll be launching tomorrow. So that'll be interesting to see the price again. And that was, as mentioned, when Caged Muscle launched Clear, that was my approach on that one too. We compared it to regular creatine monohydrate. And yeah, see, I've got a description here. So they launched 1 kg tub of the Creaclear compared to a 1.2 kg tub of Optimum's regular plain creatine monohydrate. Worked out to be about 49-50% more expensive per serving. So for me, that's one of those things. Like it's just not for me. I probably wouldn't do that. You'd have to make it damn impressive to justify the spend. So I guess it's going to come down to how much this costs. I'll be interested to see. But as mentioned, it'll be available it'll be available on Tuesday, tomorrow. So yeah, and you can read more about that on the site. From Cage Muscle, we shoot over to Man Sports. Now, they have some exciting things coming. I don't know the full story. I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm pretty sure this one's going to be completely unveiled this week. But last week, Man Sports previewed a new version of their pre-workout game day. They didn't say they didn't really say the whole story about it. So they didn't really say everything that's going to be in it. They did, however, show off enough to confirm its main ingredients. Now, this version is intended to be a high stimulant version of game day, or a higher stimulant version, so a more intense stim kick compared to the current game day. It's going to be referred to as game day nootropic, very much how Black Market had adrenaline nootropic. But the funny thing is that the ingredients confirmed, because on the front of the tub it highlights as main ingredients, none of those are really, I guess, your typical high stim ingredients like 400 milligrams of caffeine or whatever. It's pump and focus ingredients, which I thought was interesting. So confirmed so far for game day nootropic is 100 milligrams of S7 for pumps, 5 grams of hydromax glycerol, and 600 milligrams of alpha GPC. So those are solid. The alpha GPC and hydromax are great ingredients, well dosed. But being that this is a high stimulant product, there's going to be more in there. And knowing Man Sports, there's going to be more in there. So I think there's a lot more to be revealed on this product. And from what I recall, again, the pre-workout label and formula will be shared tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that's what Man Sports told me. So you can look out for that, and we'll have the whole story, I guess, on what's actually in this one. But it is one of few things Man Sports has coming. We're still waiting on Vasojet, which is their upcoming pump capsule, which will be stackable with other pre-workouts. But yeah, check that out on the site. You can get a good look at the tub, and the we'll finish off with this story, which I thought was damn cool. I'm a big fan of functional foods. Functional category itself is just one of the more exciting categories out there. It's just there's so much you can do with it. When you got pre-workout, you can, it's all about what goes in the pre-workout. With functional, there's so many diverse angles you can take, right? You can do different formats while still delivering a tasty protein treat, right? You can have a cupcake, you can have a cookie, you can have a bar. So I've always been a fan of functional and just how creative you can get, and when you can put something into a format that resonates with people, like a cookie, and it tastes amazing, and you can get great macros out of it. It's a great thing to have. It's an achievement. It's awesome. Been a big fan ever since I saw some of the exciting stuff. But so the reason I'm talking about functional is that the exciting brand Glaxon it just revealed an intriguing new product that's called Glaxon Creams. Now, again, I'm a big fan of functional, and I'm a big fan of Glaxon. So this one is I would say, I was hesitant to say an industry first because I'm always hesitant if it's not something I'm familiar with. So Glaxon Creams is an ice cream, something we've seen many times before. You've got Halo Top, Enlightened, to name a few. Bombard from Russia did some a few months back, but Glaxon Creams is an ice cream. However, I don't actually know the nutrition on it, so I don't know what that's like. But the twist with Glaxon Creams is that it is filled with nootropic ingredients for energy and focus. So this is far from your traditional sports, health, functional ice cream. This is an ice cream that somehow delivers an energy and focus enhancing experience. And while I do believe that the ingredients work. I mean, they've got great ingredients in there, good dosages. You can check out on the site what they've put in there. So it's definitely a relatively reliable mix. They've got 188 milligrams of caffeine, CDP choline's in there at 0.5 gram. There's creatine monohydrate in there as well. It's at 125 milligrams. I'm not sure. Obviously, it's not the 5 grams I'm used to seeing. 156 milligrams of theanine, and phosphatidylserine is in there at 375. So it's not a loaded mix of nootropics and energy ingredients, but it's good amounts. The amount that you'd probably see, not necessarily an energy drink, but that kind of approach where it's not fully loaded like an expensive $40-50 nootropic. But these things are put into an ice cream. And it is also worth mentioning that there's 4 servings per container, per 16-ounce container. And those doses are based on a whole container. So if you threw down the whole ice cream container, which is very easy with Halo Top, you're looking at just shy of 800 milligrams of caffeine. So, there's obviously going to be things worth knowing about this if it weren't. But, it's just it's just a crazy, interesting product. I have never seen, I've seen energy drinks infused with functional ingredients like this. I've seen them infused with Focus. Energy Ghost has got one coming with good ingredients. Merica puts extras in it. Raised Energy does it. C4 Smart Energy. And there's a whole bunch of them that do it in beverage, but I don't recall ever seeing anyone do it. Not even for a food have I seen someone throw in these kinds of ingredients, let alone a frozen food. I mean, it's crazy, and you can check it out on the site. We don't have pictures of like what the ice cream looks like. We don't know the macros, which will obviously be important. You don't want to take in 200 milligrams of caffeine with 500 calories. But I'm surprised, but at the same time not surprised knowing it's Glaxon. If you told me Glaxon was coming into functional, I would suspect them not. If you told me Glaxon was coming into functional with a science approach, I wouldn't know what the hell's coming, and that's what they've given us. And the other interesting note is that they revealed this product and they tested it at the Nutrition Store's 2-year anniversary party. I think it's at their Spartanburg store. They had a celebration. Several people turned up. Notable names, obviously. Doug Miller from Core was there. I think Chris Wildren from Inspired. And Glaxon sent this one over for people to test. And yeah, it's a crazy, interesting product. I was really surprised to see. I mean, even if they just did an ice cream, right? That's interesting enough, but they put a science spin on it. So I'm excited to see this thing come out. And even though they were just testing it, I can confirm that they are coming out with this. This isn't a concept just to show off. This is an actual product that they're coming out called Glaxon Creams. This will be available. I'm not going to say on shelves, but because it's going to be in the freezer, so it's going to be available in a freezer, and you will be able to buy it. I imagine they'll ship it from their site, which wasn't that common that many years ago, but frozen fruit companies all over the place shipping stuff for relatively good prices. You got Blackstone used to do their ice cream. Halo Top does it direct. Real Good Foods does it as well. Free shipping over $50 purchases, all frozen and dry ice. So it's entirely possible and feasible and cost effective based on other companies. They could do it, but I'm just really excited about this product. It's crazy interesting to see, and this is on top of everything that Glaxon is still doing. So they've still got plenty of sports nutrition products, sports performance stuff coming, as well as flavors, and this is just come out of nowhere and thrown in the mix. Again, you can check it on the site. Just search up Glaxon Creams. You'll be able to find it. We'll have more details when they become available, even though there's not really much else to say outside of the macros, which even if the macros are moderate, I would be very intrigued by this product. I guess the benefits, the effects, and how it works. Late night, doing some work, throwing down some ice cream and getting amped. But yeah, it's Glaxon continues to surprise. Just when I thought they were doing more new flavors and there were new products, this beast comes out of the works. So you can check it out on the site. We'll have more information hopefully soon. And thank you for tuning into this episode. We'll see you back here again next week.